rockdalecounty.com, and we're broadcasting live right now from our little patio studio, and we are this is our inauguration of our new studio. Hope everybody likes it here. We're going to be relaxed out here, and we're going to just have a conversation with Jason Hill. Tonight was supposed to be a debate between Jason and his Republican opponent for County Commissioner Chairman seat here in Rockdale County. His opponent, Ed Conway, also a very fine man, and called me yesterday and said that he was withdrawing from the race, and just felt that he didn't want to have a primary battle which would damage one of the two candidates, because the ultimate goal is to defeat the incumbent in this race right now, Commissioner Chairman Richard Oden. So I just want to say, first of all, that Ed Conway is a fine man, and his wife Pat, and I've gotten to know them over the past year, and I just consider Ed a friend now, and we want to say the best of luck and hope Ed stays active in politics here in Rockdale County. Just want to get a little business out of the way. This show is sponsored by Guide One Insurance, locally Mulchus Insurance Agency, located on Route 138 in the Bank of America building, and you can find his phone numbers and websites and everything by going to edwardctracy.com. And so I just want to let you know, that Rick is a fine man, good friend, and he'll treat you right in the insurance business. Also, if you are looking to travel or go on a trip anywhere in the world, you want to take a vacation with your family or just a bunch of friends, please look us up on Colette Travel Vacations and edwardctracy.com travel. We partnered with Colette Travel in order to bring our friends and family just a great company to go on adventures with. If it's a trip to Israel or a trip to Europe or wherever you might want to go, you stay in with first class accommodations and first class food, and everybody I know says they've just been treated right by Colette Travel. So I want to now bring in my guest, and my guest is Jason Hill. Jason, just welcome to the show.
Thank you.
This is your second appearance on our show, and it's a little different than what we had planned and expected, but I'm sure for you right now, a little sense of relief that you might not have to spend any money in a primary. You can focus on the general election.
Well, certainly we are glad the campaign is where it is. We have worked extremely hard to get here. The volunteers that have put in a lot of hours for the campaign, and we're proud of what we're done, and we feel like that's the reason we're in the position we're in. But moving forward, we're going to keep working just as hard as if there was a primary election in July. Whether there is or not, we're going to continue to work like there is. The November election is very important, and that's our ultimate goal. And I just appreciate all the help that we've gotten and the work that we've gotten done, and I look forward to continuing that effort.
Well, great. Let's start out by just talking a little bit about you for those people who may be tuning in who don't know you and don't know your relationship here to Rockdale County and the position you're running for. If you just give a little explanation about all that.
Well, I've been a member of a citizen of Rockdale County my entire life. Graduated from Rockdale County schools. My family has been here for their entire life, and I work for a family-owned company my grandfather founded here in Rockdale County, Still Lumber Company. I've attended First Baptist Church since I was born and have been in this church, and so I'm invested in the community and love it here. I was fortunate enough to serve as a Post 1 commissioner from 2004 to 2008. I was very proud of the things that we did during the time that I was on the board then, and so over the last 4 years it's just been a little frustrating watching the leadership that we've gotten, and we've done a lot of praying about it and considering whether to run again, and decided to do that because we feel like we can add better leadership this time from the chairman's position and lead Rockdale County in the direction that we think is a better direction and have a good vision moving forward. So we decided to get back in the race, and the support that we've received has been overwhelming, and I think we've made the right decision. So we look forward to a good race and ready to really get things rolling.
Economics has been the big concern of everybody over the past 4 years. What have you seen that you think the chairman could have an impact on that you don't think has either been addressed, or that you just think you have different way of approaching it? And
well, obviously, economic development is an important thing. It's really the lifeblood of our community for a lot of reasons. And frankly, the unemployment rate in Rockdale County is double what it was when I left office. Everybody's feeling that out there. Our tax digest is feeling it. Our local government's feeling it, and certainly our citizens are feeling it. And economic development, and that means increasing business in Rockdale County, bringing other businesses in, and making sure that the businesses are here or can be as successful as they can be, is important for a lot of reasons. It balances our tax digest. Businesses in general use less resources than they pay for in taxes, if that makes sense. So it's important to have a digest that is heavy on the business side as compared to residential side. It also creates jobs for our community. Everybody here would love to have a job here. It makes commutes and quality of life a lot better. So it provides more jobs the more businesses you have here in Rockdale County. And of course, we live and die on the sales tax here, and so we need businesses here selling product or to help our tax base as well and help lessen the burden on homeowners here in Rockdale County. So yes, it is the lifeblood of our community. And I think there's a lot of things that we can do from the commissioner and the chairman's level. I don't think that the government creates jobs, but it can create the foundation for businesses to create jobs. And that's the kind of environment that we want to create in Rockdale County. I think there's a lot of things that we can do. Policy-wise, of course, I talked about reducing the tax burden, and you want to try to run an efficient government. I mean, businesses are going to be more apt to move to areas where the taxes that they pay are not astronomical. They want to pay a reasonable tax rate for the services they're getting. So we have to take a look at how we can run the government more efficiently and thus lessen the tax burden. We need to look at fees and the things that we charge businesses. The more money they have, the more money they can spend on infrastructure, the more money they can use to hire people, or they can have higher paying jobs. So we need to look at a lot of those fees, specifically certain fees that we charge in the water department. We're going to take a look at all those things and see if there's things that are really warranted. And certainly, we have to pay for things, but we need to look at the fees and the things that we charge businesses and see how we can give them a little bit of break on that end, maybe if we can on the tax end. We need to look at all of our ordinances and the way they affect business. And that doesn't mean that we take away all ordinances and let businesses do whatever they want to do. But we need to look at those things and address those and help where we can. And look at, the city of Conyers is looking at doing overlay in their business district and some things that create higher property values, create places that people want to go shop, or create places people want to do business. And so we have to look at those things. We can look at what we did on Salem Road, and that was really a forward-thinking thing at the time that we did it. And it's come under a lot of scrutiny, so we have to look at that and see, anytime you do something like that, you have to look at ways that you can adjust it to make sure that you're business friendly. And so we have to do those things. We need to treat all people equal and fair, whether it's through code enforcement, making sure that businesses are all doing what they're supposed to be doing on an equal playing field. We need to have that kind of policy. We need to be proactive when it comes to seeking out business licenses. Are people, filing and getting business licenses? Is everybody on record? Are people operating under the same rules? One example, the current administration, there was a daycare that came up for a special use permit a few years ago, and they were already not abiding by the rules that were in place. And they applied for a special use permit, and the Planning Commission voted 5-1 against it. It was recommended by staff not to give them the permit, and the commission gave them the permit anyway. And so if I'm a daycare operator in Rockdale County and operating by the rules, I'm not real happy about that. So we have to look at how we make decisions and really look at treating everyone fairly, and making sure everyone's on a level playing field. That's a business-friendly community.
Well, I you said a lot there, and there's a few things I want to follow up
Oh, I
on.
can keep going.
I know you can. And we'll get to more of your list, but some of the questions I want to ask in concerning the way, let's talk about, stay on business for a minute. Salem Road Corridor, there was a meeting. I think Janice and Oz Nesbitt hosted a meeting down there at Peachtree Academy. And a lot of people turned out, and I think CJ videotaped it for us. It's one of the videotapes I still backlogged that I need to get up on the website, and I'll do that soon. But one of the things that I noticed came up in reviewing the tape was that business owners were frustrated with two things. One is, anytime they want to promote some special that they have or whatever, it's an act of Congress in order to get a sign that people can actually read when they're driving down the street. It's a temporary sign or whatever. They just want to have a sale, promote something. Maybe it's the whole shopping center that wants to do something together and they want to promote it, or even churches that have a hard time getting a permit for a large banner because they're having a special event for Easter or whatever it might be. How can we just make that happen so these people who have paid licensing fees and they're good stewards of the community and they're struggling, their rents are super high and they're not getting many breaks on that, and they need to bring people into their stores. How do you solve that issue?
Well, I think that you need to, anytime you're in an economic situation like you're in, you need to take a look at the way things are. The reason that overlay, we're going to talk about Salem Road in particular, was put in place, there's two aspects of it. There's the zoning aspect of it, that I was at part of that meeting, and a lot of people were upset about the zoning aspect of it. That's one aspect. The other aspect is the architectural designage, ordinances,
The integrity of
signs,
keeping
and things like that.
Yeah.
And the reason that part of it was done is so that we had a different corridor there than what we have on Highway 138, or some business corridors that develop without any restriction whatsoever, and it just turns into kind of a hodgepodge. It just doesn't look appealing. And to me, if I had the choice, if I was going to open a business or go to shop, I would go to the place that looked a little bit nicer. And so that's the reason those things were put in place. Now, things change over time, and we're in a tough economic time right now. And so you want to try to do what you can to help businesses promote themselves and get more people in. And so, one option might be to put a moratorium on some of that signage issues that allow people to bring it in while the economy is like it is. Maybe you start with a 60 or 90 day or something. The permit process that you talked about, you want to make things as efficient in government as you can when you're dealing with people, especially the business community. So how can we streamline that so it's not an act of Congress, that we can clear things as long as people are absolutely sure what the rules are, and they're going to do what they say they're going to do, and not any longer or shorter or bigger or smaller with those kind of signage. Then we need to take a look at how we do those things and try to make them where they're fair to everyone and they happen in a concise manner.
And the second part of my question is relating to the security of our shopping centers. It seems like I don't think we could hire enough police, short of stopping every car that comes off of I-20 that's traveling from Atlanta to Atlanta or whatever, to make these very accessible shopping centers safe and secure. A lot of the crime that happens in our parking lots of shopping centers. So, public safety wise, I know there's been issues on Salem Road. How do you work with the sheriff's department and the businesses to try and make that safe for shoppers and for the store owners?
Sure. Well, there's a lot of people may not know this, but a lot of times the ordinances that the county commission will pass are things that the sheriff's department comes to us and said, we need this to make things safer, or we need this to be able to clear certain areas or do things that will help prevent crime. And so, of course, our current sheriff, I think, does a great job, and I've had a good working relationship with him in the past. But as the chairman of the board of commissioners, you have to have a very good working relationship with whoever the sheriff is in law enforcement, and do whatever we can, and whether that's ordinances that open areas up or make things where you can see, or lighting, whatever that might be that can help dissuade crime. We have to look at ways that we can do that. I know, and I was going to touch on this as far as economic development talk, that public safety, as it goes with people that want to live here, it also goes that way with people that want to do business here. If an area is not safe, nobody's going to live here, nobody's going to want to do business here, no one's going to work here, no one's going to want to open a business here. So, and I have a website, and we have a poll on there about what's important to people. And public safety always comes up, always number 1 or 2 on that list is what concerns people.
Can you discern whether that's just from the general public, or is it business owners, or?
I can't discern who goes in and votes in the poll. It's not you don't sign in or say, but I know my business has been hit. And
I was there the morning that
that's right.
You had
that's
your first.
Right.
You said it was the first break-in ever.
Yeah. And so we are just, as we become more populated, we're right on interstate, and we're going to be a target for some of that stuff. And so we as a business have taken measures. I mean, we had someone come out from the police department or sheriff's department that talked with us about programs that we can do to help them and to make ourselves more secure. And so, part of that might be just helping to educate businesses on what they can do. And neighborhood watches are what we talk about in
so a business
residential.
watch.
Yeah, I mean, we need to do whatever we can do. And I'll throw this out there too, because this is another economic development piece that I've been interested in for a long time, and we had some talk about it when I was on the board before. It's not something that can be driven by the commissioners, but it's what they call a CID, a self-taxing district, so to speak. And there's several of those around.
I remember you talking about
there's,
that.
There's one on Highway 78 in Snellville, Cumberland Mall area, Perimeter Mall area. There's a handful of them around Atlanta now. And I always thought Highway 138 corridor would be a good spot for that. Now, it has to be driven by the businesses within the corridor.
And where it's county and city
Wouldn't matter.
wouldn't matter.
No. So that's not something I could drive as chairman of the board of commissioners.
Right.
But what that allows those people to do, and people say self-tax. Whoa, that's just more money I have to pay. But what they do is they take up a collection of money for themselves and spend it however they want to. I mean, they could hire 5 new security guards that did nothing but patrol that certain area. They
So
could do
it's like a homeowners association, but it's for
businesses.
businesses.
That's a good analogy. That's a good analogy. And there are things that govern it, and a certain percentage of the land and actual business land owners in that area have to vote to approve it and those kind of things. But
So more likely, if they propose some kind of zoning changes for their district to allow certain signage and do things like that.
yeah, and I'm not exactly sure they have quite that much power.
Okay.
And now they can do some beautification things, like up in Snellville on the Highway 78 corridor up there, they did some banners that identified that corridor as what it was.
Yes.
And so there's some things you can do like that identify yourself as a destination point for shopping or business or eating or whatever it may be. But there's some advantages to that, and that's something that the chamber could drive, or
Well, their new campaign, Shop the Rock, I really like that campaign, and it really makes people aware of a couple of things. It makes people aware that when you shop in your own county, the sales taxes and revenue help the county, because that part of that sales tax comes back to the county to make improvements. The other thing it makes aware is promotes business and within the county. And we have, would you say we are a majority small business versus large industry here in Rockdale County? So we want to support those small businesses.
Absolutely. I mean, being a family that's owned a small business here
Right.
for 60 years, I mean, we understand the value of small business because you employ local people. And more importantly than that, a lot of times, small businesses within a community support the community. That's what we've done at Still Lumber Company for so long. And when those businesses are healthy and thriving, they're the ones that, there's evidence. I'm not just bragging on Still Lumber Company. There's probably a list of hundreds that have been here over the time that support their community. They get involved, whether it be in recreational sports or nonprofits. When those businesses are doing well, they're the ones that support those programs within a community.
Right.
And so it's important, the health of those.
It's a domino effect. I think when our small businesses do well, then our charities benefit, because small business people are some of the biggest givers to charity there are, and the churches benefit from it, and it just recycles.
Well, those
and-
people have an investment in the community.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Even the ones that live in another county but have their business
that's right.
here
That's right.
do a great job
right.
of promoting
That's right.
our county.
And
Let's-
that's good.
Let's move on to another issue. Recently, the state legislature, and I have it in my hand, passed new open meetings and open records laws. Really, the sunshine laws for years have been getting better, and this is probably the best law I've seen written on open meetings in a long time. Catching up to the new media like we are, being able to go videotape meetings and the new media. I call ourselves the new media. And why is it that government has had this resistance, and how do you feel about it, where they force citizens to file open meetings records in order to get things that should regularly just be now in our terms on the web and available to citizens as taxpayers to see the budgets of our county departments and to see the budget overall of, have we spent more or less on certain departments and things like that. Where do you stand on
Certainly
transparency, I guess is
certainly
the term.
when I was in office, we abided by all the rules that there were, and I think when I'm chairman, we'll do that as well. You want to be as open a government as you can, provide people with whatever they need, whenever they need it, and as efficiently as you can do that. There is a cost involved with all that you just said. So that's that's part of it's manpower. There's a cost involved with that, and then maybe that's the reason that it isn't. I don't honestly I don't know why.
Well, some
it's not
people
on there
would tend to
available as it
think
is, but
that the chairman's position is that make them fight to get the information, make them pay for the information,
Yeah.
when a lot of citizens feel our county government should put that information and make it available on the web. And it might be a 10-year project to get all
Right.
of that stuff out there as money allows, but
it would not hurt my feelings for every document that we have
right,
be on
except
the internet. I just don't,
except for the issues where you're talking about somebody's job position.
Right, I understand
and
there's certain
like
things that
yeah.
are covered under open meetings,
Right.
But if I'm in there, we're going to abide by the law, whatever that is, and we're going to be as open as we can be, and we'll do the best we can to provide the information for people whenever and wherever they need it to the best of our ability within reasonable fiscal responsibility and manpower responsibility, I guess is what my stand would be.
Let's talk about recreation. I know that was a big thing in your first term, and we've got a new park opening up. Is it this coming
Actually,
week?
they had the opening Monday night out at the Lorraine
Oh, yeah,
Trailhead.
it was
If
Monday
that's what
night,
you're talking about. And I'm proud of that park because that was land that we purchased when I was in office.
Right,
It was an
I
old
remember.
junkyard, and that trail project that's going to go all the way out to the monastery. I mean, I was very passionate about that. And, that junkyard, I pushed hard for us to purchase that when I was on the board, and so I'm going to take a little bit of ownership in that park, even though we just opened it under a new administration. But Parks and Recreation is a passion of mine. I mean, it's growing up in this community and playing Little League ball and living it. I know what it means to families. I know how it brings communities together, and frankly, a community with nice parks and areas that looks better. When we talk about economic development, differentiating yourself from other communities. I always thought our park system, we have percentage-wise as much land donated to park space as any county in Metro Atlanta, and so we have a diamond there that we can really make nice and show off. And so, when I was on the board, we came up with a master plan, and we took a lot of community input on how to move forward with the facilities. We did a lot of work when I was in office at the ball fields, building new concession stands and bathrooms, and we did the track at Pine Log Park, and then the tennis center that's at Parker Road was something that I fought for when I was in office, and we started that process. It was also opened after I left office, but it's always been a passion of mine, and it always will be. I have kids in this community now, and I'm going to want them to be involved in those same things, whether it's passive recreation or participative recreation. I'm going to want them involved in that. Now,
A lot of people have talked about Costly Mill being a treasure that is in our county, and there are two sides of that. Should the county buy that and preserve it? It's one of the most beautiful piece of land with history, and everything within our community, or will we encourage privatization where somebody buys it and preserves it privately, or is it a combination, or what?
When I was in office, we talked about that because they had approached us about wanting to sell. And we actually brought in the people from the Arabia Mountain Heritage Area and the Path Foundation. Some of those people are real good about working with
Right.
foundations and doing these partnerships, and we discussed some of that at the time. We didn't take any action at that time because you're talking about a sizable chunk of money.
Right.
Basically, is what it boils down to. And so we really had to look at what our master plan was. You know, what are the things that we're lacking, and are they possible to go there? If they are or they aren't, then is it worth buying as just a passive park and preserving land for the money that it was going to cost? I mean, those are the things we were weighing, and at the time we decided not to do it. It is a beautiful piece of property. I can tell you right now the county couldn't afford it. So if there was an option to try to bring somebody in privately, talk about what they were going to do, you know, you may not want just anything developed out there, but it is a gem. It's a beautiful piece of property. The county has some functions, or used to have some functions out there every year, and you know, I hope it's preserved for a long time.
People talk about Parker Road a lot and whether we should have bought that property, not bought that property, or whatever. And now it's fully functional, and got the tennis center there, and got a college there operating, and other things. Did you have a vision when you were in office before, or do you now have a vision for that piece of land that the county
Well,
owns?
I had a vision when I was in office, and part of that has been fulfilled. I mean, I think part of that land needed to be used for park space, and you know, it was a controversial issue to some people, you know, frankly. But the tennis center's there now. There's a passive park there now, and people are out there enjoying it. Even before we did those parks, you would go by there at any given time, and there would be people out there practicing football in the fields, people running out there. Now there's a big, long running track that I use myself out there. It's that part of it was a vision that I had and is there. Now, and frankly, I had a lot to do with tearing that one building down that was there. I mean, it was basically an unusable building, and it was going to sit there, and you know, I was ready. Let's get that thing down and let's start planning to do something here. So, now the other part is, you know, part of what I was going to talk about with economic development, because the other part of that vision is there's a plan for a road to go through there, the East Freeway extension. It would go right through, just to the right of where the Maxell building sits now, and run back and connect to East Freeway, which is a dead-end road that comes in right
And
behind.
come out at Old McDonough Road?
That's correct.
Yeah.
That's correct. And it would open up that corridor. And so my thought was, and that's a project that's affordable. You know, it's something we could do on our own under a SPLOST project. It would create another thoroughfare, another byway to get over to 138, and it would open up another commercial area.
Right.
So you open that
Is
up.
that all zoned on that proposed construction of road? Is that all properly zoned for industry or retail?
Well,
or?
it's government property now. So I
Okay.
mean, we can zone it however
Oh,
we
the
want.
whole the
Yeah,
whole track
it's not-
is?
Well, the building behind it is where the Veterans and Health Department used to be.
Yes.
That building there.
Yes,
You may have to get on some private property there, but all the way through there
yes,
is government owned.
Okay.
So we could zone it however we wanted.
right,
But my thought was, you create a lane through there, then that creates property on both sides of the road, a nice
Right.
new road. You know, people talk about need more government space. I don't think we need a whole lot more government space, to be totally honest with you. There are some areas that we might need some, but you could do a private-public partnership with a building there, and it could have some government offices in it, but it could also have some business offices in it. And another economic development I did, the city's been throwing around this idea about a incubator, and they had the deal with Acuity that fell through, and I don't know why we wouldn't consider putting that in Parker Road facility for what's there. If college is going to be operating there, that's the perfect kind of setting to have an incubator in. We've got RCA right across the street. We've got the magnet school. We've got a school system in general here that could work with that. There are colleges all around. So why not take maybe, we can't afford to do some of these things now, but that's an asset we have on the ground right now. And so why don't we consider partnering with the city and putting an incubator in there? That's a way to attract business here. You know, if you're looking for a way to get businesses and get startups, and there's colleges within 45-minute drive of us that there's people there that are looking to start businesses.
Right.
And so you come up with a plan and you offer them and you say, look, we got a career academy across the street. There's students there that can help you. We got a magnet school that was just recognized as the first STEM school of their type here in the state. We've got smart kids in this community that can help a business like that. So we've got partnerships available to start something like that. Then you get that in there, you get it started. Then maybe you get some businesses that really start up. Then you start talking about a private-public partnership there to rebuild that area into a bigger building that could still maybe house the Board of Elections on one floor, and then be,
Right.
you know, that's kind of my vision of how that area would develop. And then you would get some stuff back on the tax rolls. I mean, you know, if we're going to think
Well, that's
big,
the
let's
thing I
think
think
big.
that
I mean, it's
people
you know,
don't understand the last few years. The biggest missing link here is that with no development, no housing development, no commercial development, those are fees that used to really fund our county government that has disappeared for the last few years.
Sure.
We're going to take a 2-minute hard break right now, and we'll be back in 2 minutes. Thanks. I will mention we're back, and just want to mention again for folks to go to edwardctracy.com. We're on edwardctracy.com TV live right now, and I want to make sure that people understand that we do this live show when we line up guests like we have tonight, and our goal is to get more of the business community. We're in the process of making a business show where we actually will have community businesses come in, interview them, talk to you a little, talk and promote a little bit of the businesses. Trying to work that out right now with with certain business leaders to be able to do that. So if you're interested in that, contact us. You can always email me at ect@edwardctracy.com. Just go to the website and find us. If you've got any news around town, we did a project called Dangerous Roads, and citizens went to Richard Oden's office, and I'm not saying this because Jason's here, but I'm saying this because we at edwardctracy.com got a call from the residents there and said, can you come out and film this area? And so we went out and did, and with the help of Sheriff Wigington, who talked to the DOT, we were able to get signage and flashes in the road and things like that on McDaniels Mill Road, which I know you know that area real well. It's a very dangerous road. People have died on that road, and it's been a real tragedy. And we worked with the neighbors on that, brought attention to it. So if you know of any dangerous roads in the community that you know that there's a bad accident record, and you just feel like you haven't gotten the attention there that you need, we will come out and film it and research it, and we will put it on the air if we find that it needs that attention. So just want to throw that out to the folks watching. Also, coming up is campaign season. We're in qualifying time right now, and so the candidates by Friday, tomorrow at noontime, we'll probably do a report tomorrow after noon sometime to tell you who has decided to run and who hasn't. So be coming to the website and look at our news page, and we'll do a report on that as well. We want to just thank the people who come to the site. We've had the greatest week of viewers. We get a report from a service that we subscribe to that shows where our name has gone out to the world, and we've been viewed in something like 26 countries, something like 30 states in the United States, and this week over 5,000 viewers in just the first 3 days of the week. We covered the GOP convention, state convention down in Columbus, Georgia. By the way, I got to give a plug for this guy, Country's Barbecue. Man, that was some awesome barbecue. Cook it the old-fashioned way, smoke it, and I'm not a country boy, but I'll tell you what, I found out what real country barbecue was all about down there. So it was great food if you ever go to Columbus. But back here with our guest, Jason Hill, and we were talking about a lot of economic development in the first part and some public safety issues, and we want to talk a little bit about infrastructure now. Jason, I know you have some thoughts and formulated some ideas, and with your experience as to what we need to do with our infrastructure. So share that with us.
Infrastructure plays a big part in economic development as well. Someone once told me, if you take care of transportation and water, then economic development takes care of itself. I'm not sure it's quite that simple.
I think one more, education, transportation, and
right.
water.
So, that's an important piece to our economic development puzzle. I think we have to get to the point in Rockdale County where we are taking care of maintenance issues out of maintenance budgets and not SPLOST budgets. That's, we've let ourselves get behind, and I understand we've had to do some catch up, whether it's with paving or laying new water lines. We've had to do that, and those are technically capital projects. But for a county like us to get ahead and do some of the things we need to do infrastructure-wise that can help us help our economic development, we need to get past that point. And so we're going to have to really run an efficient government. We're going to have to find wasteful cuts where they are. We're going to have to make wise decisions with our spending, because some of the things I'm talking about we need to do cost money.
Right.
We're going to have to start putting some money towards those things yearly, even if it's not much at first, as far as paving roads and fixing water lines and things. We're going to have to start doing that out of our maintenance budget, so that when our capital sales tax comes up, we can do some things that can help us economic.
Kind of like the Dave Ramsey course for government. Right?
Very good analogy. So, and one of those things, and to me, the biggest economic development piece right now that we need in this county is the non-access bridge over Highway 138.
Right.
That is the center of our economic core right there, and all you have to do is drive across that bridge and see business.
Can you paint us a vision as to what that's supposed to look like?
Well, we've
seen a lot of drawings.
There's been a picture that we did. As a matter of fact, we lobbied one time for funds that would help with the beautification of the bridge, to be honest with you. And at this point, we need the bridge, and I want it to look good and be nice, but I want the bridge.
Right.
So it would be somewhere between 138 and Sigmund Road. To me, there was a plan done. It was in a good spot. And my attitude was, when you start changing plans and moving things around, that
This
just
is a
pushes things.
non-highway access
That's correct.
bridge.
Non-highway access bridge, similar to Parker Road.
Mhm.
And it would be on the other side of Highway 138. It would come down somewhere around the backside of Salem Gate Shopping Center and come down the other side. I think try to realign it there with G's Mill so that there would be a natural flow.
I see.
And what that would do is just open up our main economic corridor.
Does that tie in with going under 138 from Old Town?
Well, it would tie
into
in.
the
I mean,
back
it would come in right there at
Right
Old
there.
Covington. Yeah.
Okay.
So that piece to me solves our transportation issue. I mean, the major transportation issue in Rockdale County is that logjam at the bridge.
Mm-hmm.
And also, if you drive down the highway, you see on either side of the bridge businesses starting to close up. They're just getting choked out. I mean, Salem Gate Shopping Center is one of the huge gray fields in our area. I mean, it's ripe for redevelopment if people could get there. And so this bridge does that. And that piece, frankly, we should be paying for that out of our own supplies. I mean, if we wait on people to do it for us, we learn. Because, I mean, I've been pushing for this thing since
This
I took
ties
office.
into if you use SPLOST for capital projects
Right. We can afford,
rather than maintenance
we can
projects.
afford to do that project on our own.
Right.
And so if I had been on the board, I would have pushed to have that in this current SPLOST, and we'd be getting ready to build that bridge right
Is there
now.
a price tag, or
It's 28 million, 30 million, I think is what it is.
and SPLOST brings in 78, 80 million?
That's right. That's right. So, I mean, if you take the money that we're spending on repaving and the money that we're spending on water lines, that would almost pay for the bridge. And so, while these things need to be taken care of, and I understand we were behind, the voters voted this thing in. I think, you improve your economic development, then all of a sudden that might give you some more money to help take care of
Right.
these other things. So, to me, that's long-term planning, and I think that piece of our economic development puzzle needs to be taken care of. And if we're doing it with our own SPLOST, that gives us a lot more control about when it happens and how it happens, and frankly, who we can use to build the thing to some extent. I mean, another part of the puzzle that I was going to talk about is using local companies to do things for Rockdale County whenever possible. When we're going out and asking people to do business with the county, I want to be legal in everything we do first, and I want to find the best product for Rockdale County at the end. That doesn't always mean the best price, but it means the best product in the end. That's what I'm always looking for. Who's going to do the best work and the best job and give us what we need? And then I want to give special consideration to people that are local.
I
there's
came from a town where we did just that. We allowed open bid, but if all the criteria were equal, it went to the local business before it went to anybody else.
And when I was on the board, we always, and they may do this now, I'm not trying to say that they don't, but there were always extra points per se when you're deciding on a bid given to somebody that's a local contractor.
I just think of all the things that are purchased by government that could help local
That's
businesses.
right. And if there's something inherently wrong about me paying taxes to you and you going to buy something that I do from somebody that lives outside the county.
Right.
I mean, that just doesn't feel right. So we'll do whatever we can to use local business if ever we can. A good example, the Neighborhood Stabilization Program is a program that the current administration brags about and talks about what they've done. And the money they've spent, about 2/3 of it has come to people that has gone to people, contractors that have their business located outside Rockdale County. I mean, personally, I know some contractors. Trust me, in being in the building business, I know some contractors that could do the work and would love to do the work and would love to be in on that. So, we need to search out those people and really try to keep that money at home.
I
We're
had
spending
one
it.
here recently, and I won't mention any names, but a customer of yours, actually, on the building supply and all that, who's a contractor, who came and did work for me, and had to close down his business and take a job with a bigger company in Atlanta because he couldn't get local business here. So that stabilization, he's a rehab guy, and that stabilization project would have been perfect for a guy like that.
Sure.
And he pays taxes in Rockdale, so it's the perfect example of what you're saying. And I think people will probably understand and resonate with that. But take it one step further. What do you think about encouraging people who get a job with the government here in Rockdale County? Shouldn't they be encouraged to live here in the county as well?
I would always encourage them to do that because for me, you want people working in your government that are invested in the community.
Right.
I think they take pride in it, maybe a little more so than somebody that's driving back home somewhere else. That being said, you want to get the best employee too, and sometimes that's not going to be possible. I mean, when I was on the board, we tried to do that as much as we could, but I understand, applicants come from everywhere, and
Right.
In this kind of market, people aren't apt to be able to sell and move right away. So, sure, that's something we would strive for, and you always want to try to hire people that are living in your community and seeing what's out there. You can do a lot better job when you're living it and you're seeing it and you're right there. And so we'd always strive to do that wherever possible.
I know that salaries in government, in local government, are very, very hard right now to really pay a fair wage. I know that they announced, and I was an advocate of giving raises, having a smaller county workforce, but paying the ones who were there better so they could provide for their families.
Sure.
And I just recently, in the last couple of days, found out that because of the good stewardship that our sheriff has had with his budget, they actually used extra money from his budget to give the county employees a bonus. And I want to go on the record as saying, I haven't seen the tape of when that was done at the commissioners meeting. You may have, but I just want to commend the sheriff for doing such a good job in managing his money that there was enough to be able to give bonuses to the county employees. But a bonus is a bonus. It's not helping his pension. It's not increasing his salary. It's things like that. And I know guys that work for our county that work very hard digging holes in the street in the heat of the day. They don't make an awful lot of money. How do we improve that situation?
Well, I think this is an example of, if that money was there to be found in the budget, and you had done your hard work when the time to set the budget came, then you could have budgeted for a raise for employees and not turned it into a bonus. I appreciate that county employees are probably struggling just like everybody else.
Right.
I don't want to by any way say that they don't deserve to get what they're getting.
Right.
You always want to have good people working for you, and you want to compensate them for doing that. And so I would have done it a little differently. I think that it just takes a longer term vision and longer term planning. And if giving people a raise is a priority, then you make it a priority, and you find places to cut the budget, and you make that happen. And I'm also a strong believer that raises or bonuses should be done on a merit basis, not necessarily on a needs basis. I mean,
County employees have an annual review.
yes, they have annual review.
And is it a point system or?
No, we instituted one when we were in office. I have no idea if that's the same one that they carry out now. My understanding, just in hearing some of the comments, is that there are reviews that are done. I can tell you those things take a lot of time. Managers probably don't like doing them because they do take a lot of time out of the work to get them done. So if you're going to do them, then use them because they're there for a reason.
Right.
And so those are the certain things I didn't like about the way it was done. I probably would have done a little differently. I'll tell you my philosophy on paying county employees, because people think people that work in government probably should make a little bit less for whatever reason. I don't know if it's because of job security or because of benefits or whatever it is. They think,
Well, there's not job security like there was before the government either. So
you may be right about that. But my attitude is this: if you had an investment in a company, and that company was going out to hire somebody, an engineer, a driver, any kind of worker, you would want them to hire the best person that they could find. Period. You'd want them to invest money in that person, hire the best person they could find, bring somebody in that's going to do the best job, be the most efficient. That's how you would run a company. And if you were invested in that company, you would not want them just to go out and try to find somebody to fit a price tag, would you? That's my philosophy.
right.
People in this county have more invested in that government than they probably do in anything else, especially in an economic time like this. The taxes they're paying, probably more than a lot of people are investing or saving right now. That's the biggest investment they have. And so what are they investing in? They're investing in infrastructure. They're investing in parks. They're investing in service. They're investing in public safety. They're investing in transportation. Okay, they're making an investment there to those people. So wouldn't you want to have the best people you could possibly have working for you and pay them like they're the best people that you could possibly have working for you? I mean,
They don't have to be the highest paid comparable to business, but they certainly should be fairly paid. And some people will take a little less pay to have not only security and some
Sure.
benefits, but to be able to live in their community
Sure,
and work in their
sure.
community,
Yeah,
not
yeah.
travel into Atlanta,
That's
whatever
right.
the case
But
may be.
you understand what I'm saying.
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't think you have to be scared to pay people that work in government. I mean,
Right.
you want the best people you can possibly get.
And
you-
reward those, like you said,
Right.
who do a good job and
That's right.
earn merit.
That's right.
What other important thing, politicians will go into a campaign with 2 or 3 top things they want to focus on, and we focus on 2 or 3 here tonight. Is there anything else that we've left out that you want people to know about Jason Hill and
Well,
what you'll do differently than current administration?
Well, this election is about a lot of things. I think I can do the job as chairman of Rockdale County, and we can debate decisions you would make and what decisions have been made. I have the business experience. I have the local government experience. I have the buy-in and the investment in this community. I've lived and done business here for my whole life. But to me, this election is about a lot more. I mean, this election is about vision. It's about leadership. It's about bringing this community together in a way that it hasn't been before. And I think I offer that to this community. I think I've shown it in my life, whether it's been when I was in school here and business here and living and working in the community and being in it and living it. I've shown it. And so I think I can offer that. I think that's going to be a lot about the debate in this election is going to be decision making, how you defend those decisions and explain those decisions and communicate to people the vision that you have for things like economic development, like we talked about spending your tax dollars and how we would do that. Those are going to be the debates. How can we transcend the differences that are among us and concentrate on the things that are similar to the people that live here and wanting a great community? And those are the things I have to offer. And I plan to communicate that message to everybody in Rockdale County in every way possible. I think we have the support and the team to do that. And so I'm looking forward to the rest of this campaign, the rest of the debate. I just look forward to seeing you all out there. I'd love for you to check out my website. It's www.electjasonhill.com. There's a lot of the stuff we talked about here tonight and a lot more on there. There's ways to get in touch with me to help the campaign.
Jason, what education do you
I graduated from Rockdale County High School and went on to Georgia Institute of Technology, graduated from there in 1994.
Is that the yellow and black color?
That's it. No, it's white and gold.
White and gold.
White and
okay.
gold.
Well, I see
White and gold.
bumblebees are yellow and
Right,
black.
white and gold. So, well, let me tell you the story about the Yellow Jackets, okay?
Yeah.
This is how Georgia Tech got the... Now we can talk about something I'm really passionate about,
Okay.
you see. So, this is how they got the nickname the Yellow Jackets, because the Auburn football team was coming to Athens to play the Georgia football team.
Yes.
Okay? And so Georgia Tech didn't have a football team at the time. This is must have been late 1800s. And so the Auburn fans are coming through Atlanta and they're headed to Athens. They don't have a lot of fans coming with them at that far a distance at that time. So they come through Atlanta, they ask the Georgia Tech people, come with us to Athens and cheer for us against the Bulldogs. So the Georgia Tech people didn't want everybody to just think they were coming from Auburn, of course. So they all put on yellow jackets. Yellow jackets. And so that's how Georgia Tech became known as the Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets. White and gold would be the color, not gold and black.
All right.
Yellow and black, as you said.
Well,
But anyway, on with my education. I went from there on to Georgia State University to get my MBA and graduated in 1999 or 2000. It's been so long now, I don't know. But I graduated from there.
You're an old man.
That's right, and I am, and I've continued with education through Leadership Georgia, Leadership Rockdale, Regional Leadership Institute, things that really talk about the issues that affect our state and affect our region, and I'm very in tune with those. And my interests are going to be right here in Rockdale County, but I understand that we are part of the region, and we're going to have to deal with a lot of those things as well. So, I think I have the educational background, the experience in this community, the experience in business to take this job and really lead Rockdale in a new positive direction. So, look forward to doing that.
Well, that's great. We appreciate. Boy, I'll tell you, time goes by fast. We got about 5 minutes left to wrap up. I'm gonna just talk again a little bit about our sponsor.
Can I say one more thing before that? I
sure
told my
can.
kids I was going to do this in the
well,
beginning, and they may already be taking a shower. But Graham and Ashley were going to be at home, and I told them to put the thing on so they could see. So Graham and Ashley, if you're there, I love you guys, and thank you for watching the chances of them sitting here
Well,
watching this for an hour are very slim. But if they sat here and love you guys and wanted to say hello.
Well, I will tell you what. Hi, Graham and Ashley. Because last night, when we were together last night, Ashley put your sticker on her face like that, and I took a picture of it, and I'm going to have to give you that picture. But it was funny what you said. You said, well, at least she's not ashamed of her dad. She had, or her name, because she had the Hill bumper sticker right across her forehead. So I thought that was pretty.
They're
cool.
Big supporters, no doubt.
So anyway, they're cute kids, and you know, just to give a plug to Atlanta's favorite company. Your wife works for Coca-Cola.
She does work for Coca-Cola, yes.
And she's been there a long time.
She's been there now going on, what is it? It's probably 12, 13 years now. Yeah.
So does that mean we can get free Coca-Cola in Rockdale County?
Look, they don't give away the sugar water. You know, it's there's a reason they're successful. But
otherwise, she wouldn't have a job. Right?
That's right. That's right.
Okay. Well, that's great. Well, thank you very much for coming on with us tonight. Hope to see you again during the campaign. And folks, if you've been watching and you want to get in touch with Jason, again, give us one more time phone number, website, email, however you want to do it.
The website is www.electjasonhill.com. Email is campaign@electjasonhill.com. And phone number is 770-483-8022.
Great.
And there's a campaign phone number on the website as well.
And folks, you know.
And that's let me just point this out too about working local and living here in the community. And when I was on the commission before, I worked right down the street, and I've always had an open door policy. People could walk in that office and find me anytime they wanted, and that won't change when I'm chairman. I want people, whether it's a business owner or a citizen, they'll have direct access to me, and that's the way it should be. And I'd love to say I'll just sit there and let people file in the door. I know that's not possible,
right.
But if I'm the chairman, elected chairman, I won't be hiding behind anyone. And if somebody wants to come see me or call me or talk to me, I live right down the street from the Board of Commissioners office, and my phone number will be listed, and people will always be able to get in touch with me. So, I think that's the way an elected official ought to be, and that's the way I plan to be once I'm elected.
Well, I know it's important to people to know that you're still one of them. You're still the small business guy. You're still the citizen, the taxpayer, the neighbor. That shouldn't change just because you become chairman of the county. We also know that you can't answer your phone 24 hours a day either, because you still have a business to run. You still have probably you wouldn't be running.
I'll be running a different business in 2013, right?
But you do have a family, and I think we're in a family community,
sure. And
people understand and respect people who put their family first, and
sure.
And I think that's important. I know you have. I just want to remind folks that our sponsors are very important to us. Please go to our website, and if you have insurance needs, call Rick Mulchus at Rick Mulchus Insurance Agency. Great guy, and been in the insurance business 27 years. And hey man, he's good enough to be one of our sponsors and help keep us on the air. So I really encourage y'all to give him a call when you need an insurance quote. Also, if you're going to be traveling, Collette Travel, just a stellar reputation, worldwide travel, vacations, tours, things like that. So please let us know. Contact us. You can go to our website at edwardctracy.com, www.edwardctracy.com, and go to our travel page, or you'll see Collette Travel there, and just give them a call. Now, I'll just close out by saying that we just again want to thank our viewers. We want to thank those who've been coming to our website. We ask you to register on the website. It's important to us, helps us build our base for being able to get advertisers and things like that. You might have seen some ads during the course of the show, and those ads aren't necessarily our ads. They're from the Ustream company, who we pay a subscription to, but very expensive to get the no ad contract. So we're building our company, and hopefully we can get there to where you would that would be only our ads and not those ads, because I'm always worried what kind of ads they're putting on my show, and I don't have any control of that. They're supposed to try and match the programming to the ads, but anyway, I'd also want to thank C.J. Lester, and he's our camera guy, and I just want to thank him, and he's the chairman of the Young Republican here in Rockdale County. So thanks, C.J., for being here tonight behind the camera and running the board over there. So, folks, come back again, look back to see what other shows we're going to have at OCTracy.com TV Live. Thank you, and good night.